when I was preparing for that talk about cognitive and depressive or affective comorbidities in epilepsy, it was frustrating to see that, you could not find the evidence. So it seems that, there's lots of research to be done about sex differences in epilepsy. But when I look into why we don't know, I think it's mainly because neuroscience, unfortunately, is biased. So there was a few interesting papers that they described the sex biases in research. So that means when a study is only including males or is including males and females, but they don't disclose who's male or who's female for the purposes of understanding sex differences. And what they found is that in preclinical studies, so that's in animal studies, the male only studies outnumber those two females 5.5 to 1. So that was a striking difference. And also when they look at 10 different biological disciplines, they found that actually neuroscience was the most biased discipline from the 10 different biological science. So that was quite concerning, to be honest, because ultimately these biases, they can compromise our understanding of the female biology in disease. And ultimately, we cannot answer you whether there's actually cognitive or affective differences in people with epilepsy. And this is really important so that we can target treatments that are tailored not only by the epilepsy type that the people have, but also it's important to know whether it's going to have a different effect in males, different effect in females. So it's something that we definitely need to address urgently. One of the, perhaps this is because there's many misconceptions that prevent the inclusion of females in epilepsy research. And some of them, I'll just touch base on a few of them. One of them is that the animal numbers, that researchers tend to think that you need to have more animals just if you include females. But this is something that is not entirely right, because doubling up immediately when you start your work is not necessary. So potentially you can start with something that is 50-50 ratio males to females and then expand if the trend indicates. So it's one of those misconceptions that have prevented the field to advance. And also potentially the variability that can be introduced to the different estrous cycles. Estrous cycle in females. So again, it's a misconception because the males also have a testosterone cycle. The females obviously have an estrous cycle. And also latest research have indicated that there's lots of influence of circadian rhythms. Even if you take, one male, one female, you will notice different variability throughout the day. But that variability also, you can see it throughout the month or throughout the year, so seasonal variability. So again, having that mindset that, including females on research eating imposes more variability, that's something that is not right. And I think overall that mentality that males go first, like why do we do that in research? It doesn't make sense that males go first. Like, I think this is just a flawed rationale, and it just unjustifiably prioritizes the use of males. It's like why we have this archaic belief that, males is the archetypal standard. This is just absolutely wrong. So it prevents us from actually investigating neurobiological, potentially response effects of sex differences. But at the same time, just thinking that, you start with a project on males because, again, animal numbers, variability, cost, whatever, it diminishes the scientific rigor. And that's why it was really frustrating that I was not able to answer the question, do we have sex differences? Maybe in some cases there are, but then we actually don't know why those differences are. And ultimately, what that translates is that we are unable to offer tailored treatment for people with epilepsy. And it's what I mentioned before, not only the epilepsy type, but also treatment that is target personalized, whether you're a male, you're a female. So there's lots of work that needs to be done to break those barriers of including females in epilepsy research.